Tom liked ordinary afternoons, the sun on his face, the gentle warmth that made everything glow just a little brighter. He loved how the sunlight danced across the sidewalk, casting playful shadows that stretched and shrank as he walked. The scuff of his sneakers against the pavement was a familiar sound, a steady rhythm that matched his easy pace. There was something comforting about the repetition, the way each step felt like a small promise that everything was just as it should be. Today was just such a day. Spring air, green leaves fluttering overhead, and the familiar walk down Maple Avenue. The trees arched above him, their branches forming a leafy tunnel that made the street feel like his own secret path. He passed Mrs. Gable's tulips, bright and bold in their little patch of earth, their colours almost too vivid to be real. And he waved at Mr. Henderson, who was out early, carefully watering his roses as he did every afternoon. Tom liked knowing his neighbours' routines, the way each person added to the gentle hum of the neighbourhood. Everything felt safe and predictable, just the way Tom liked it. The world seemed to move at a gentle pace here, and Tom felt like he belonged in every moment. He thought about building with blocks when he got home, imagining the towers and bridges he might create, each one taller or more daring than the last. Or maybe he'd curl up with his favourite dinosaur book, flipping through pages filled with ancient creatures and wild adventures, letting his imagination roam. Buddy, his golden retriever, would be waiting at the door, tail thumping a happy rhythm against the floor, eyes bright with excitement to see him. And his mom would have a snack ready, maybe apple slices and peanut butter, or warm cookies fresh from the oven, filling the house with a sweet, welcoming smell. Life was simple and happy, filled with small joys and gentle routines that made every day feel special in its own quiet way. But as Tom neared his house, he stopped in his tracks. His ears caught a tiny, unfamiliar whimper, so soft he almost missed it. It wasn't a bird, whose songs he knew by heart, or a cat, whose meows he could always recognize. It was a lonely, sad sound, almost lost in the breeze that rustled the leaves above. The noise seemed to come from somewhere nearby, hidden just out of sight. Tom stood still, curiosity bubbling up inside him, mixing with a hint of worry. He wondered what could be making such a sound on an otherwise perfect afternoon. The ordinary afternoon suddenly felt different, as if the world had paused to see what Tom would do next. Something was out of place, a tiny mystery waiting to be solved, and Tom felt a spark of excitement mixed with uncertainty. And Tom knew in that moment that he had to find out what it was, even if it meant stepping out of his comfortable routine and into the unknown. Tom followed the sound behind the miller's hedge and found a trembling, fluffy brown puppy with big, scared eyes. The puppy was tiny, with one floppy ear and a white patch on its chest. Tom knelt, holding out his hand gently. "Hey there, little guy," he whispered. The puppy flinched, then sniffed Tom's fingers, still shaking but curious. Tom stayed patient, letting the puppy come closer. After a moment, the puppy licked Tom's finger and wagged its tail, a tiny sign of trust. Tom smiled, feeling a connection. He knew he couldn't leave the puppy alone. His ordinary afternoon had become a mission. He was determined to help. Tom knelt down in the grass, looking into the puppy's big, hopeful eyes. He promised the little dog that he wouldn't let it be alone, that he'd do everything he could to help it find its way home. The puppy's tail wagged, as if it understood every word Tom said, and in that moment a special bond began to form between them. He gently scooped the puppy up, feeling its tiny heartbeat fluttering against his chest. The puppy was so small and fragile, and Tom realized just how much trust it was placing in him. He felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders, but also a sense of purpose he'd never felt before. When Tom arrived home, his mom opened the door and her eyes widened in surprise at the sight of the puppy in his arms. She hadn't expected her son to bring home a new friend, but she could see the determination in his face. Tom explained everything. the soft whimper he'd heard, the way he'd found the puppy shivering under a bush, and how it had no collar or tag. He told her how scared and lost the puppy seemed, and how he couldn't just walk away. His mom listened carefully, then reached out to stroke the puppy's soft fur. She smiled and agreed to help, proud of Tom's kindness and courage. Together, they gathered blankets and made a cozy bed in the corner of the living room. Tom poured fresh water into a bowl, and his mom found a small dish for food. The puppy sniffed around, tail wagging, already starting to feel at home. Soon, the puppy curled up in its new bed, letting out a tiny sigh as it drifted off to sleep. For the first time in a while, it felt safe and cared for. Tom sat nearby, watching the puppy sleep. He felt a new kind of happiness, a quiet joy that came from helping someone who truly needed it. It wasn't about toys or snacks or anything he could buy. It was about making a difference, about being there for someone who couldn't ask for help. Tom felt proud of the promise he'd made, and even prouder that he was keeping it. As he looked out the window, Tom realized this was just the beginning of his adventure with the puppy. He was ready for whatever challenges or surprises might come next, knowing he wasn't alone. The puppy looked up at Tom with trusting eyes, and Tom knew the little dog was counting on him every step of the way. The next morning, Tom checked on the puppy, still safe, still waiting. He needed to find its owner, so he became a detective. With his mum's encouragement, Tom visited every house on Maple Avenue. He described the puppy: fluffy brown fur, big eyes, white patch, but no one recognized it. Everyone praised Tom's efforts, but by lunchtime he felt discouraged. Sitting on his steps, Tom watched the puppy play and realized he couldn't give up. His first plan hadn't worked, but detectives don't quit. He needed a new idea. Tom was determined to keep trying. The puppy deserved to go home. He would find a way. He just needed to think bigger, and he would. Tom's new plan: posters. With his mom's help, he made bright, bold signs, "Found Puppy," with a drawing and their phone number. They posted them around the neighborhood, lampposts, the park, the grocery store. Each poster felt like a beacon of hope. Now, all they could do was wait. Waiting was hard. Every phone call made Tom's heart race, but none were about the puppy. Tom started calling the puppy Scout. Scout played in the yard and followed Tom everywhere. Tom grew attached, but he knew the right thing was to find Scout's real home. Even if it meant saying goodbye, he hoped someone would call. 2 days passed. Tom played with Scout, taught him tricks, and worried no one would call. Then on Sunday the phone rang. Tom's mom answered, then handed the phone to Tom. A girl's voice trembled on the line. "Does the puppy have a white patch? One floppy ear?" "Yes," Tom replied, heart pounding. The girl, Lily, lived 3 streets over. Their puppy Barnaby had slipped out of their yard. Lily's family had been searching everywhere. They saw Tom's poster at the park. Relief and excitement filled the call. They arranged to come over right away. Tom realized his plan had worked. Lily and her parents arrived at the animal shelter, their faces a mix of anxiety and hope. The air was thick with anticipation as they hurried inside, searching for the familiar wagging tail they'd missed so much. Lily clutched her mother's hand tightly, her heart pounding with worry and excitement. The moment Barnaby spotted Lily, his tail wagged furiously. With a joyful bark, he wiggled free from the shelter volunteer and bounded straight into Lily's waiting arms. The room filled with laughter and happy tears as Lily hugged her beloved dog, unable to stop smiling. It was a heartwarming reunion. Barnaby licked Lily's face over and over, making her giggle uncontrollably. Her parents, overwhelmed with relief, turned to Tom and thanked him again and again for his kindness and quick thinking. "You're a very responsible young man," Lily's dad said, shaking Tom's hand firmly. "We're so grateful you found Barnaby and kept him safe." Tom felt a surge of pride, but also a twinge of sadness as he watched the happy family prepare to leave. Saying goodbye was harder than he expected. Lily ran over and hugged Tom tightly. "Thank you so much. Barnaby is my best friend, and I missed him every single day," she whispered, her eyes shining with gratitude. Watching Lily and Barnaby together, Tom realized he'd done something truly meaningful. He felt a deep sense of satisfaction, knowing he'd helped reunite a family. The sadness of parting faded, replaced by a warm pride that filled his chest. He knew he'd made a real difference in someone's life. Standing outside the shelter, Tom took a deep breath and smiled, feeling a new sense of purpose and confidence. After the family left, Tom hurried home and hugged his own dog, Buddy, appreciating their bond more than ever. The street outside was quiet and peaceful, returning to its usual calm after all the excitement. But Tom felt changed inside, older, wiser, and grateful for the lesson in kindness, responsibility, and the joy of helping others. He was proud of the person he was becoming and knew he'd carry this lesson with him for the rest of his life.